DuckTalks is part of Res TV's network of podcasts. Check out res.tv for other great podcasts.
Ah, phooey.
Oh, glorious day! The gods smile upon our meeting. Ha ha!
Ducktales, you gotta go! My new planet will be here any minute!
Well, me wonderst what blessed soul be so fortunate as to share quarters with the legendary Donald Duck.
I don't know. Go, but try to scare him away!
But wouldst that even be possible if your new roommate were incapable of feeling fear?
Oh no.
If indeed he were the defender of Delphi, the lion of Lindos.
Oh no.
For what if he be I, Starcules, Slumber Party?
It's the week of Monday, November 19th, and you're listening to episode 50 of DuckTalks. Welcome to Thanksgiving week. Hey, I'm one of your hosts. My name's Mitch, and I've got Josh with me tonight.
Hey guys. Woohoo.
Josh, you guys got big Thanksgiving plans, or do you do Thanksgiving kind of low-key? What goes on at your house?
We normally visit my wife's family, but this year we've decided to not go there and kind of do our own thing. So it's going to be a new kind of experience for us for this Thanksgiving. But we're excited. We want to try something different, and then we're going to meet up with family at probably around Christmas time. But we're pretty excited for this year's Thanksgiving. How about you?
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I've got a lot of family spread out fairly local, so all within driving distance for the day. So our Thanksgiving day begins pretty early, and it gets a little laid back around the time of the parade. We like to watch the parade, or at least part of it, usually the last half, and the big Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Yeah. And then, have a big meal with one of our families, and then we'll go to another family, and sometimes we make it to a third family, and sometimes we put that off for the weekend. But yeah, it's busy.
Sounds like you are pretty full at the end of the week.
Well, we kind of pace it. We make arrangements ahead of time. So, like, I'm going to have turkey at my mother-in-law's, and I'm going to have ham at my mom's, and then I like to get the desserts at my dad's. So, just kind of, it's a course per house. Do you guys get out for Black Friday?
Normally we do. I don't really have a big list this year, but I know we're going to talk about a little bit of some pretty good Black Friday deals later on to this evening. But we like to go out and just to walk around. I find that if you go to one of these big retailer stores, you don't want to go when it just opens because it's just a madhouse. You're going to get trampled on. People are going to push you and shove you, and it's not a lot of fun. But if you don't mind going like later in the day, it ends up being a lot easier to kind of walk around and get your stuff that you want, if it's still available. That's the downside is sometimes the stuff you want isn't available, but you also don't have to deal with the hassle of all the crazies. And so that's what we end up doing. We're just like, I'm going to sleep in. If anything, I could try and get the stuff that I want online that are like that I know is probably going to be gone. But for the most part, it's not so bad once you kind of go later in the day when the crowd goes down. Are you gonna risk the Black Friday rush?
Well, our tradition is we decide on Thanksgiving Day. We typically, in the past, it's not been a big deal. At one point, when we first got married, I don't know that we ever got out during Black Friday. And it really wasn't until the girls started to get a little older and they started asking for things for Christmas where there were, things on top of the list. And then on Thanksgiving Day, you're looking through the paper and say, oh, look, this place has that item marked down 60% off. I guess I'm getting up early for that. And that's kind of how it happens. But, this will be the first year without Toys R Us. We've gone to Toys R Us the past 3 or 4 years on Black Friday. That's like been our one-stop shop. So that'll definitely make things different this year.
The problem is now that these stores are opening on Thanksgiving Day, and so you don't really get much of a chance to eat or do anything if you want to go like when it just opens.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. We've just got too many things to do on Thanksgiving, first of all. I mean, I know there's different arguments on whether that's, good for people who work there or whether it's taking them away from their family. And I know there's pros and cons to that. I just, it's not something that I don't get out and do that. I ain't got time for that on Thanksgiving Day. Like I said, I'm usually running all over Tennessee. But, there is one place I would like to make it by this Black Friday, and that's GameStop. And like you said, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. We talked about it last week, but that conversation will continue. But this being our Thanksgiving and Black Friday episode, I'm going to try to get it out around Thanksgiving. It will be out before Black Friday so that you can listen to it while you're waiting in line. Make sure you share your treasures with us on Twitter at DuckTalks. But we did want to take a moment and just kind of talk about some things we're thankful for as a podcast and a website, and as just part of the Duck fandom. We're very thankful for the past year. It's just been amazing getting to spend time online with people and talking about all this stuff, all this Duck stuff, and learning about it. It's been really cool. We were talking with someone earlier this week. And one of the things that I really like about this fandom is there's a lot of information about Disney Ducks. I mean, the properties have been out there for 60 plus years, and they, that's Scrooge. I guess you look at Donald and you're getting closer to 90, right? With all the information, all the stories out there, there's a crazy amount of stories out there. And so, we're constantly reaching out to people in the fandom and asking them, if they're familiar with this or they know about, something. And there's just there's so many great people who want to talk about this stuff. That's what I love about it. And I'm thankful for that. So we're thankful for those fans, of DuckTales and those fans of Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck, all these properties that we all love. And then also for those that are following Duck Talks. We really appreciate you reaching out to us and sharing in your fandom with us, and just letting us know when you find that latest piece of merchandise and allowing us to share in that joy. We get a kick out of it. We've been reading through Fantagraphics' Don Rosa library, and so we've been able to share that with other fans, and that's been a really, really cool. That's been a fun journey, and so we're very thankful this year. For everyone who's listening and everyone who visits the site and everyone who reaches out to us by email or on Twitter.
We also want to thank all the producers, the directors, and show writers, and the cast and crew of the show, just for making the show such an amazing show. And without the show, obviously, Duck Talks wouldn't be here. And we're just so thankful that they just have put so much heart and passion into this show that it's come back and is doing as well as it's doing. And you can really tell how much they love what they're doing. And we're just so thankful that we got who we got to do all this, and they're just killing it.
Absolutely. For fans by fans. That's what I keep saying. That's what I like about this property, and that's what I like about the crew that's working on the show. They have been fabulous. We're very thankful for many of the sponsors we've had this year, like Fantagraphics and Sun Stashes, Diamond Select with the Kingdom Hearts stuff. Fat Mojo has been great. Did I mention Fantagraphics, IDW, Media Labs? So many great sponsors this year. We're just very thankful for all the love we've been given this past year, and we've been excited to be able to share that with everyone and be able to offer those reviews and offer that information. So that's been great. Been a great year. We're very thankful. Let's take a look at some feedback. For feedback this week, let's take a look at an email we received from Casey. Now, we've not had an email from Casey in a while. I know he had a trip planned to Walt Disney World. I hope he had a good time, and looking forward to hearing about that. But he says, should there be a Storkules movie? A Storky Lee's movie. I'm gonna say no. I
You want the
don't.
life?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say you don't want the life and times of Storkules.
I mean, that could be interesting. I mean, it might be fun to have some kind of DuckTales movie that takes them back on, a Greek adventure, ancient Greece adventure, where Storky Lee's is involved. I mean, it would be kind of fun to, maybe a comic one shot where we see, some of those, because I mean, he's a parody of Hercules, right? So maybe some of those tales retold. I currently can't think of what are Hercules stories and what are other fables and stuff that are stuck in my head. But yeah, I'm going to say no movie, but I could totally be down with a sitcom about him and Donald living together in the city. I think that works. Oddly enough, it reminds me of Perfect Strangers. Cue the
Yeah, I was
music.
actually just gonna say that.
Sometimes the world looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change. No matter what the odds are this time, nothing's gonna stand in my way. This flame in my heart, like a long lost friend, fills every dark street a light at the end. Standing tall on the wings of my dreams.
Now, we could use a Launchpad movie, but that's another discussion.
Oh, I'm down for a Launchpad movie. Casey, thanks for your email. We did enjoy this week's episode of DuckTales, and of course, that's where the question came from. We'll talk a little more about the episode here in just a few minutes. But thanks for that. If you have a question or you have a topic or something you'd like to send us, you can always send that to ducktalkspod@gmail.com. And that's pod, P-O-D. Stands for podcast, if you didn't know. We have some news items. Have you been watching these clips, Josh?
Yes, I have. I've been anxiously waiting for our Christmas episode that's coming up.
Yeah, not this week, though. Next week. Whew.
Yeah.
Man, I had a little hiatus flash there for a moment. But it should be short-lived. I mean, we're going to get an episode. We know we're going to get at least one episode in December. Last year we only got one episode in December.
And it was kind of like wintry themed because they were in the cold and snow.
And they talk about Santa Claus.
Yeah, that's all we got.
Yeah.
But this one is going to be an actual Christmas episode.
I feel like they're doubling down a little bit on Christmas here because you get the Christmas episode, we get more talk of Santa, we even get a Christmas intro. And that's our first news item here is the holiday theme song, the DuckTales intro for the next episode, Last Christmas.
Life is like a candy cane here in Duckburg. Snowflakes present Santa's sleigh. It's a duckler, might make bells jingle. Hard trap Kris Kringle, Ducktales. Christmas Eve, we're out there making Ducktales. Tales of Christmas past and Yuletide Ducktales.
Man, I love that they did this. Like I said, I feel like they're really, really doubling down on Christmas with this. And the little added snow in the background, if you just listen to it, it's not enough. You've got to see it because there's a little effects added to make it even more Christmassy. But just a great job. I love that they did this.
And a little different changes in the lyrics, like life is like a candy cane.
Yes. It's really, really good.
Who's singing this thing? Because it's not the same person who's singing the regular theme song.
Yeah, it's not Felicia Barton, that's for sure. Have you seen Duck the Halls?
No, I missed it last year.
Yeah, so that was the Mickey Mouse short, the new Mickey Mouse shorts, and it was about Donald wanting to stay for Christmas. It was really great. Had a similar sounding singer, and I believe it's the same person. we've not seen confirmation on this, but I think it was Kahuna Potato who first pointed it out. We believe that is the voice of Storkules himself, Chris Diamantopoulos, and I hope I said that name right.
Really, the voice of Storkules. Well, I guess that makes sense. They're reusing people who are actually in the studio doing voices.
He did Duck the Halls, and so they sound similar. And he, like you said, would have already been in the sound booth or the studio. I don't think they stick them. Maybe they do stick them booths. I don't know. But anyway, it would make sense. I think that's who it is. But not only did we get a new theme song this week, we also got a couple of clips. One of the clips was put out by Disney online. The other clip was actually has not been released. It'll probably come out on Friday. That's how things normally work. It has been on TV, so if you're watching the Disney Channel live, or even streaming, this may pop up as a preview of the episode. So looking at the first clip, which is the Scrooge one, we get a lot more information about this episode, or at least about the Christmas Carol characters that we've seen in the past. I mean, we've already seen a lot of these characters just in the last few months, ever since San Diego Comic-Con. We've been talking about them, but we got some confirmations with this Scrooge video. Let's listen to it just for a moment.
Dewey, meet the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Years ago, they accidentally haunted my home.
Accidentally?
Yeah, we were looking for a different Scrooge, but your uncle was way more fun.
But you hate Christmas.
That's a bit of an act. I have so many responsibilities throughout the year. My family, my business, secretly keeping the world-eating serpent Jormungandr at bay.
The what?
I just need one night a year where I can really cut loose.
So, every Christmas Eve, we use my trusty Timebrella to go back and revisit the best Christmas parties history has to offer!
So you don't actually hate ornaments?
Not really.
And candy canes?
No.
And Santa Claus?
No! That churlish chimney chaser is not to be trusted! I love having you all here, but I need a break now and then, do you understand?
So Scrooge doesn't really hate Christmas.
Yeah, it seems like that he actually secretly loves it.
You know, I think it was last week we were talking about this, and I made some wild speculation. And turns out I'm right. Scrooge goes on adventures with these ghosts. They're his buddies. I thought that was great. Mm-hmm. I love being right, of course.
Still nothing about Santa, though. He doesn't trust Santa. I don't know if they're going to address it, but hopefully at some point they will.
Yeah, that chimney stuffing guy is not welcome around his place. It was great. It's a lot of fun. We get to hear some of the voices of the ghosts there, and I know Disney's releasing some information on who they are. I know I saw someone online mention that another voice actor from Wonder Over Yonder, the last person in the main cast, is one of these ghosts. And then Jack McBrayer from 30 Rock is playing, I think it's the Ghost of Christmas Past is what's on Disney's website. So that's cool. You were saying, because we were talking about this before we started recording, you were saying he plays Felix from Wreck-It Ralph.
Yep, he's Fix-It Felix.
So that's perfect timing. Wreck-It Ralph coming out this weekend. So the third clip that we got was a huge surprise. I thought we were done with clips because at this point I had already spent a ton of time at work taking random breaks in order to get information out there to Duck fans on the website. And on Saturday morning, someone posted a picture of what they called Emo Donald. And I was like, where's this from? And they were like, the new clip. I was like, that's not in the new clip. And so I went to YouTube and searched. And of course, our good buddy Darius Bell, we don't know Darius, but Darius is a good friend of our show and our website because he always, I call him shaky cam videos. So he's one of the people that will catch these promos when they air on his cell phone and he's recording his TV screen. And he's one of the first, like he's usually got the best video and sound because that's key. It's hard to get both good video and sound like that. He's one of the first to get it posted to YouTube. So he included a video, and this video, we had seen that the episode was going to include Dewey getting lost in time and trying to help Donald. And remember, there was a lot of talk about whether he was going to help Donald find Della or Hortense. Well, listen to this video.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and through McDuck Manor, Scrooge was beating up Santa, but not with a hammer. Humbug. But is it an act, his unpleasant state? Does Scrooge actually think that Christmas is great? So off on a journey that had gone all too fast, Dewey in future, present, and past. But Dewey gets lost and stuck with some fella, a familiar face that leads him to Della? It's a holiday episode you won't want to miss, for you've never seen a DuckTales like this. On demand in the Disney Now app and on Disney Channel Saturday, December 1st at 7:30.
So yeah, I think this video, it's kind of hard to tell still with the sound and what's going on in the video, but we get some mentions of Della. I'm thinking they're looking for Della and not Hortense, but that doesn't mean we don't get Hortense in this episode. Mm-hmm. But what about that Donald?
Yeah, he's got kind of a, I don't know, I guess emo look to him, and he's got a guitar.
Yeah.
We don't hear him, so I don't know if that's for sure confirmation that it's Donald, but it definitely doesn't have his normal outfit on.
No, he's not dressed in a sailor's outfit. No, he's kind of a dark plaid shirt and it's not a smiley face. I guess it is a smiley face, but I can't remember. I don't have a clear image of it, but it's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. It's like got the X's in the eyes and tongue out or something like that. But yeah, I think at one point we do hear Donald's voice in the promo. I don't know that it matches up with the image that's on the screen at that time, so they could be just kind of leading us to believe it's him. Everything that I've seen, people are speculating that it's Donald, but that's coming out Saturday, December 1st at 7:30. So we get a week off. I don't really know that I want to call it a week off, but we get we get a time without an episode, and then we get that episode. And as of right now, there's nothing else on Disney ABC indicating if there are any other episodes out in December, which isn't abnormal. We're not through November. Sometimes it's the week of before we get an update. Should be a fun time, though.
Definitely, totally excited about it. Can't wait. I love Christmas, so I can't wait for a Christmas episode.
Yeah, it felt like Neverest was an almost Christmas episode, but I feel like they are making up for it this year. Well, let's move on to Duck merch. And the first thing we have on the list, I think Pirate added this before he wasn't able to make it tonight. James Silvani has put up his holiday commissions. Around Christmas every year, James Silvani opens up a limited number of slots in which he will do a commission piece for you and get it to you by Christmas. He also has a few additional slots that he'll open up for people who are willing to wait till after Christmas. Every year we see him share a number of commissions after he's sent them out, and we know he likes to do mashups and various things like that. Of course, James Silvani was the artist who worked on the Darkwing Duck comic for both Boom Studios and Joe Books. So we talk about the Definitively Dangerous edition a lot on this podcast, and he's the artist behind that. He does some great work. I know Pirate every year contemplates what commission he's going to order. He hasn't said much this year about what it was going to be, but he put it in the notes, so we probably were supposed to hear about it today. We do have a couple of items that anyone can get, and that is at Target.com. Pirate came across these and posted it on Twitter. Looks like there's a new Darkwing Duck shirt for adults. It's a pretty cool shirt. It's got that signature purple. It's got the Darkwing Duck logo and 3 different images. And they're interesting images. 2 of them, actually, all 3 Darkwings are very commonly used. What's kind of odd, and Tad Stones pointed this out, they used the DuckTales launch pad for the image. Now, I still love the shirt. I still plan on getting it. But I would like to see some new art. He pointed out it's old art and it's not even Darkwing Duck Launchpad.
Yeah, well, I don't think the normal average person would notice the launchpad difference. But yeah, I agree. It would be nice to see some new artwork. Maybe, I don't know, can Tad Stones make his own artwork to do that, or is it already still licensed by?
Yeah, it's still licensed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, even Silvani finds his stuff on things all the time. Like we've talked about the pen that was put out recently at the Disney parks. It looks very familiar. It looks like one of his drawings. But then recently, IDW used one of his covers on that Disney Afternoon Giant #1. He didn't even know it was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they'll use their art, but. Tad Stones wasn't really an artist, I don't think, other than, the behind the scenes type stuff for Disney. I don't know that any of his art was published by Disney. So I don't know that they would use that. I would love, and maybe I just make one of my own for myself and not sell it, but I'd love to have a Tad Stones t-shirt with his Darkwing. That's one of my favorite interpretations of the character. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's the true interpretation of the character. But I'm just a Tad Stones fan. But yeah, great shirt. Really busy. They also have a Goofy movie shirt, and it's a very interesting shirt. It's a red shirt, so we've got all the characters we should expect on here. We've got Goofy and Max and Pete and PJ and Pauly Shore's character and Roxanne and Stacy and the girl that hits on Max and the girls that gag over not wanting to go to the pep rally. I mean, where did they get? Why are these people in this image?
They just threw as many as they want. I guess they could on there. I don't know, but at least it's a little bit different than the normal artwork that we would get. It's characters from the actual movie. I would have never have thought to see a shirt with the two goth girls that are gagging.
I mean, they're up there next to the title, and they got their fingers in their mouth and their tongue stuck out. And I'm like, what is this? I wonder if I can cover them up with red patches or something.
Yeah.
But no, the shirt otherwise looks good. Some of the character choices are a little odd, but you do get them. I mean, you could literally just cut those three out and it'd be perfect. I don't get it. But it's a Goofy movie shirt. And, if you like a Goofy movie and you want to support a Goofy movie, you can go to Target and do that.
Mm-hmm. There's also a sale going on at Box Lunch. It's kind of strange because earlier today I was looking in on their website. They were showing 25% off of Disney merchandise. And when I came on later in the day, it's changed to 30% off flash sale. Now, the flash sale is going to end before the podcast is going to come out. So good luck on that because you're going to have missed it. But the 25% off Disney, now I'm not sure if that's a one-day thing or during this week. That's something we're going to have to see after today to see if that goes back to the 25% off. But I'm hoping that it's for the Mickey's 90th birthday.
Okay.
That this week that they give up all of 25% off Disney. Crossing my fingers. We'll see, but it includes the shirts that we've shared recently, the Gizmo Duck shirt, the Huey, Dewey, Louie shirt that's the Junior Woodchucks, and it also includes the Scrooge underwear, because we all know we need that.
Yeah. I bet the Goofy movie stuff's on sale there, too. There was Hi Dad Soup and the Possum place. I bet all of those are on that sale.
Yeah, I'm sure that's on sale. I think the only other DuckTales shirt was one that was kind of like a Game of Thrones type of shirt with Scrooge being on a thing of money that looked like the Game of Thrones throne.
Box Lunch has some great shirts. They're expensive, so this if you want them, this is a good time to get them because we're talking $22 instead of $29, something like that.
Yeah,
roughly.
And then I don't think that they're gonna ever go on sale with these until they do like a big sale. I can't remember exact date, but last year around either end of December, beginning of January, they were clearancing all their shirts to kind of get their new inventory in.
Okay.
And when that happens, I'll make sure let you guys know, because they really discount the shirts because they're trying to get rid of everything. And so if you don't get them now, if they're still available, it's possible they may be on sale later in the year.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that. My store is a small one in the mall, very small. And they have one round rack in the back corner that's kind of shoved up against the wall. And it's always a pain to try to look around. And there's always people all over it. But you're right, the prices are worth it. It's like Black Friday shopping all the time. Speaking of Black Friday shopping, so we've got that GameStop Funko Black Friday mystery box coming out. I was in GameStop recently. I picked up my fall convention exclusive of Shere Khan. So I finished my Tailspin collection so far, but I decided to go with this one versus the regular one. Anyway, I was in there and I was looking around. I did not see the Retro TV box. And they didn't know what I was talking about when I asked. So, but
I don't know. Has there been any reports? I know people were saying that they called in and they said it would be out by Sunday, but has anyone actually even got their hands on any of these?
I don't think anybody has. I don't think they came out Sunday. I think that information there was a lot of people hoping that information would be correct, but I don't think it actually turned out to be correct. They did, however, GameStop sent out their email with their Black Friday deals, and the boxes on there. It is actually the box we expected. So the Powered by Funko on the classic television is what the box looks like, and it says only $20. So it does say it's $25, but marked down to $20. 5 GameStop exclusive mystery collectibles, including one of 5 Pop vinyl figures. And it shows 3 of the Pops as their chase, because every one of these Pops get a chase. So it looks like it's the glow-in-the-dark Megavolt and the oil-stained Wildcat. The oil-stained Wildcat and Max with a skateboard. Those are the chase figures. We didn't know about those last week when we were talking about it. But they have been revealed. They showed the regular Gargoyles character whose name suddenly escapes me, but that's okay. Angelica, thank you. And then they also show the regular Monterey Jack, which I think was a good choice because that chase is freaky looking.
Jeez.
Well, and that was my guess as to what they would do, but those eyes, man, those eyes are creepy.
They do have a few other Pops that have eyes like that, and I think one of the main ones that was Joker when he first came out. He had those weird eyes, and I don't know why they did that, but he does have like weird eyes when he does smell cheese, so I can understand that, but it is kind of like a little trippy.
Yeah, I told Pirate that if I get one and don't have someone to trade with, I'm taking a Sharpie to those eyes. I was hoping the chase would be, Zipper in his hand instead of a piece of cheese, but I figured it would be the cheese look, but I did not expect that. I am not a fan of that at all. That'll be my luck. I'll get that one, which will be okay because, it'll bring $100 online.
Yeah. You just got to get the chase, flip it online, and then buy the rest.
I think Pirate already showed us a picture where someone had the glow-in-the-dark Megavolt on eBay for like, what was it? Was it $70 or $80?
Oh, yeah. It was me. I sent it to you earlier.
Oh, you
today.
did? You sent it. Okay.
Yeah, it was on the normal one. People were selling for about $25, and then the chase, it started around $80.
That's nuts.
Oh, sorry, $90. $90 was the start for the chase version.
I'm excited about these. I don't know how many of these I'll actually get a hold of, and I really hope they're released outside of these exclusive boxes. But it doesn't sound like they will be. Maybe different versions of them.
Yeah.
We'll see. It'd be interesting to follow. Keep a lookout for those. And hey, while you're doing your Black Friday shopping, if you go by GameStop and get a box, make sure you share that with us. We want to see what you got. And, if you get some dupes, if you're one of those people that go in and buy 4 or 5 boxes and you get some duplicates, let us know before you put them on eBay.
Yeah, we may need those dupes.
Yeah, although we're not interested in ridiculous prices. Go get your $80 somewhere else. We're too cheap for that. Well, I'm too cheap for that. I can't speak for everybody else.
Yeah. I'm definitely too cheap for that, too.
Last thing in Duck merch, Scrooge Mystery has been shipping. That's the documentary. You might remember back on episode 32 of DuckTalks, we had an interview with Morgan Jekyll. Morgan is the director of the documentary about Don Rosa, and he followed Don Rosa around for about 3 years. Not like all the time for 3 years, but he spent 3 years on the documentary and spent a good chunk of that time with Don Rosa. I have been able I got my copy this week, and I have been able to watch I was through the third chapter when Paisley started watching it with me, and she asked me if I'd start it all over. So she started watching it with me, and we just about got through the third chapter again. And I've really enjoyed it, and I've been surprised that she's been watching it because it's a documentary, but she's enjoyed it too. She likes watching him draw, and I don't know if you haven't listened to that interview, you ought to go back and listen to episode 32. But man, it's a fun time. I enjoy watching people draw, and you can just see he's drawn these characters so much. There's no construction lines, there's no prep work. He jumps right in, and they're perfect every time. It's amazing. But he's talking, Morgan's asking him questions about his life, because it's not about Scrooge. It's about Don Rosa, and it's about, obviously how Scrooge has impacted Don Rosa's life. But it's really, really fun documentary. I'm not even a quarter of the way through it. Really great. But you can buy a copy at thescroogemystery.com. It's the website. They are looking at getting it in other places, and it may show up eventually, but right now that's the number one place to get it. You can either buy it on DVD, $25 for the DVD. It is the collector's edition, so it includes all of the extras. It's a ton of extras. And then $35 for the Blu-ray. And like I said, it's great. So that's available. We want to make sure we continue talking about that. And sometime in the near future, we hope to have Morgan back on the podcast so we can talk about the documentary. And we want to talk with him about Don Rosa's work, because he's the one that really pushed for us to start reading Don Rosa's stuff instead of waiting on February for Life and Times to come out. Josh, I guess we could talk about... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it's time for the episode.
It is time for the episode. Let's talk about Storkules and Duckburg as I move away from my microphone. I'm sure that won't sound horrible. I always forget to bring up the randomizer. It's because I hate this thing. So we'll start off our review of this week's episode, Storkules and Duckburg, by doing our 30-second recap. I guess also I ought to bring up the stopwatch because I know it's going to be me. Have you prepared at all? I would imagine you and Pirate don't even bother.
No, we don't. We just know that we're going to get picked.
Yeah. What
was it last week? What number did they get picked last week?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not giving you that advantage.
Because I will pick that number if I will choose the number that it was picked last week, whatever that was. Was it 2?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay, I'll pick 2.
Okay, you pick 2? It's not even funny. Not even funny. It was 1.
Do you want me to do it? I'll be a good sport and do it.
No, because I always prepare for it, because I just expect it to be me. So I'm ready to go. All right. Louis wants Scrooge to invest in his business. Scrooge tells him to find a problem he can solve first. Storkules wants to be Donald's new roommate. Donald says go get a job. Louis takes his company on a retreat. While they're there, they see Storkules fighting harpies. Harpbegone is born from that confrontation, and they take care of all the harpies. That's the problem, though. Now there's no harpies, so Louis considers freeing them, but they get out anyway. He has to save the day by giving up the thing he loves. Under 31 seconds, but it was over 30. There was a little hesitation there a few times.
Pretty good.
There was a lot that happened in this episode.
Yeah, there was a lot that happened.
Before we jump into the conversation, let me pull up the information on who worked on this episode. This was the 5th episode of season 2, and it was written by Bob Snow, and the storyboards were done by Stephanie Gonzaga, Vaughn Tada, and Brandon Warren, and it was directed by Matthew Humphreys.
So when we first saw the preview for this episode, we saw that the Duckburg was being attacked by harpies.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe when I saw them that they were kind of a callback to the original show when there was an episode called The Golden Fleecing.
Right.
But when I brought that up to you, you told me that was actually inspired by a Bark story called The Golden Fleecings. And so those harpies or larkies, is that how they were done in the comic?
Yeah, I think Carl Barks called them larkies, but they were harpies.
Mm-hmm.
In the episode of DuckTales. So yeah, everything's reused.
I didn't recognize it from the comic, but I recognized it from the original episode of DuckTales.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I didn't recognize it from the comic either. I did a Google search because I remembered the episode when you sent that, and when I brought it up, it said that it was from there. So I had to be one of those Duck fans.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Carl Barks wrote about it, and then it became an episode of the original DuckTales, and now the new DuckTales put their spin on it. And I always enjoy them putting their own spin on things.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode had 2 storylines going on. That's kind of typical for DuckTales, I think. I feel like just about every episode has had that formula. The first one being Louie starting his business, which goes back to the season premiere with Louie Inc. or Adventure Inc. I can't remember. Was it Louie Inc. or Adventure Inc. in that episode? The game night.
Oh. I think it was Louie Inc.
Yeah, it probably was. But now he's got a pitch that he's put together, and he presents it to Scrooge. And Scrooge just completely dashes all of his hopes and dreams, which is what his pitch was. It's all my hopes and dreams. I think he literally says that.
Introducing Louie Incorporated. It's a business. It's a dream. It's a movement. Suits, ties, charts, numbers, yachts, jet skis. You? Louie Incorporated. It's a dream, business, movement.
Did you just do an internet search for the word business?
That's a trade secret.
So is it some kind of lemonade stand? Or
It's a dream of tomorrow made manifest today.
And Scrooge asks him, how much are you talking? How much are you looking for? And he's like, oh, just like $2.5 billion. And Scrooge laughs him out of the room. I loved that part. So yeah, I mean, the storyline's set up by Louie wanting to start his own company, but he can't come up. He wants to own a company. He wants to run a business, but he doesn't know what to do in order to do that. And that seems like a problem anybody would have if they just set out to start a business.
Yeah, and it kind of webs itself when Donald, who rents out his boat to get some money, extra money, ends up getting Storkules show up, and he's his roommate, who Donald's not really happy to see Storkules, but he also has already rented the room out to him, so he's going to have to kind of co-live with him.
Yeah, and that led to some funny Odd Couple like moments. We were laughing earlier about what was their name, Balky and Larry from Perfect Strangers, just where Storkules has these Hercules like powers where he's super strong and doesn't know his own strength. So he's in the bathroom going to brush his teeth and squirts toothpaste everywhere and rips the towel rack down and then steps in the toilet and breaks it and just destroys the bathroom in like 2 moves. So, for someone like Donald who's constantly dealing with bad luck, that this is probably not what's best for him.
So yeah, and that's what kind of brought the harpies is Storkules came to Duckburg and the harpies followed him, and luckily enough for Louie, he was able to do a quick business where Storkules was taking him out.
Yeah. Storkules' father, Zeus, sicked the harpies on him to teach him a lesson. That's a good father. It's like, you know what, son? I'm going to teach you a lesson. Go play with these bees. But yeah, so they're fighting in Funzo's, and I think it's funny because we were talking about it last week. How is Funzo's going to fit into this? And it's just there. It doesn't really fit in. It's just that Louis takes them on a corporate retreat.
Yeah, and spends all their money.
Yeah. But he's pulled Huey and Webby into this, and they're like they're constantly bringing up good ideas, and he keeps dismissing it because, I don't know, it sounds like it's too much work or something. So, but they jump right in to fight the harpies when they break into Funzo's, because they fall into Funzo's with Storkules. Because somehow Storkules fighting the harpies at the mansion ends up leading to him falling into Funzo's. But I'll believe it. I like it. But, some of the battle is really cool. There's a lot of fun there. And then that's when Louis gets his idea, and they do their little commercial. But after the commercial, which was part of the preview, the teaser that we had last week. But after that, we get this montage of them fighting harpies. And it was really reminiscent to me of Ghostbusters. Like, even the music made me think of Ghostbusters while it was going on.
We're in business! Harpy gone, please hold. Harpy gone, please hold.
I said the same exact thing to me when me and my wife were watching it. I was like, it kind of reminds me of Ghostbusters. And she said, she's like, yeah, it does.
Yeah, in the movie they do that. After they do their commercial and the phone number pops up, it goes into a montage. It has to be that's what they were doing. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that was intentional. It was a good job. It was perfect. But when Harp Be Gone, a division of Louis Inc., when they get rid of all the harpies, they're on the Dewey DeNight show, so we get that again. Dewey Do Night. Can't say it right. We find out that they've taken care of all of the harpies, and they've been keeping them in Donald's bedroom.
I don't know how he didn't notice.
In the closet. Yeah, because they're screeching and carrying on, and they've been biting through the door. I don't know. Maybe he's been sleeping there this whole time.
Yeah.
Throughout the episode. But Louis has a moment where he thinks that the only thing he can do to save the business, because he's bought all this merchandise that he loves. And I feel for him there. I understand that. I love our merchandise. You can get it at TeePublic. But shameless plug. But he has to do something, and he considers letting them go, and Storkules confronts him. And he almost turns Storkules. which is pretty monumental, because from what we've learned of Storkules, like, he's the epitome of the good guy.
Yeah.
But Louis has him thinking, I've really got to pay my rent. Maybe I need to go along with this. So, but they get loose anyway. And of course, they carry off that thing. The one thing that I thought was fun throughout the episode was apparently the harpies always take that thing that someone loves. So, like with Huey, they figure it out when it takes the Junior Woodchuck guidebook. And then it's trying to take Mark Beek's phone, and takes Mama Crackshell Cabrera's gun, and it takes the Beagle Boy, Big Time. It was Big Time. It takes Big Time's money that he just robbed from the bank. It's taking what everybody loves. And so it's taking what Storkules loves, and that's Donald.
Yeah. Now here's one thing that I thought was interesting.
Uh-huh.
So when Storkules decides to go after the harpies after all this, he grabs Donald and spins him around and then shoots up after them. And to me, how he did that reminded me of Thor when he swings the hammer around and then goes up. And so I don't know if that was like intentional, but I was like, Thor?
Right. Yeah. And we had some feedback this week, and that was Pirate's favorite moment. But I think it's Louie, because Donald's in the boat. I think he does that with Louie, and because they're flying up to the boat to save Donald.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that moment is it was hilarious. It was a great moment. And then Louie realizes that they can get back to the mansion, because they're all in the boat. The Harpies are flying with the boat, and he decides they can get back to the mansion by throwing the merch, which is the stuff he loves. And he learns a valuable lesson. Scrooge shows up at the very end with a can of lemonade, which I guess we should have mentioned that throughout the episode. Everybody kept telling him he just needed to open a lemonade stand. But Scrooge, being the industrial man that he is, or Scrooge being the industrious man that he is, realized that was a great idea. So he decided to open a lemonade company. But it was not cost effective to get the lemons there. Well, they figure it out that the Harpies like lemons for some reason, but it just makes sense. And Louie realizes that he should give the Harpies what they want, and that maybe it would work out for everybody else, which was the moral of the story all along. And Webby punches him. So it was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was.
I really enjoyed it. We've watched it a lot of times. I don't even know how many. But we did ask on Twitter for people to let us know their favorite moments from the episode, and we had a lot of replies. I thought we'd take a moment and look at a few of them. Evil Mad Scientist said, they actually gave us a GIF. It's a GIF of Storky Lee's hugging Donald, so I take it they're a fan of all the Donald, Storky Lee's moments, and it's really funny because Donald obviously wants nothing to do with Storky Lee's. I guess because he gets hurt. I don't know, but Storky Lee's just thinks Donald's the greatest thing ever, and is always wanting to, hug on him and be his friend. So that's funny.
The next one was from Quivering Quack. They said, I love that Glomgold doesn't want to pay the bill and accidentally sues himself.
That was great. And that was kind of, you might have missed it if you weren't looking, but the newspaper that was shown in one of the scenes, and I can't remember when it was, but there was an article saying that Glomgold accidentally sues himself. But of course, there's also, you had mentioned earlier when we were talking about the episode, Glomgold was actually in this episode.
We know that Glomgold loves himself, so that's what the Harpies decided to take, was Glomgold, because he loves himself.
But Storky Lee's caught him, but he wouldn't pay Louie's bill, so they let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great moment. We love Glomgold moments. Kahuna Potatoes said, I'm still laughing over how he threw Donald into the sun. And that was very funny. When he first shows up, and he surprises Donald, he throws him up in the air, and before it goes to the theme song, Donald's flying into the sun, in the direction of the sun. And Lexi looked up at me like, wait, what just happened? I was like, it's okay. He just threw him really high and he'll land. She says, no, Donald's flying into the sun. I think it'll be okay.
It's one of those moon moments where, how do you survive on the moon? I don't know.
Well, and we do see him fall back to Earth when we come back from the credits or from the theme. Ivan Sanchez on Twitter, at Grim Phantom, says, probably one of the funniest since the first episode of season 2. Storky Lee's is a hoot to watch and does seem like we are going to see more of him now that he lives in Duckburg. And that was a question I had from this episode. Is Storky Lee staying in Duckburg? Like, will we see him living in Donald's houseboat moving forward?
Maybe in like a short cameo, because with some of these characters we see just kind of passing by and don't really get a whole like story with them. Kind of like in this episode where we saw a few of the past characters that the Harpies were kind of going after, or even in the finale where we saw like a few characters as well. I think he'll probably cameo, in my opinion. I don't know if he'll have much of maybe a few voice lines here or there, but maybe not until an actual episode where he's kind of the center character for that episode.
Yeah, it would be fun for him to show up a few more times. I'm wondering if maybe he learned the lesson that his father was trying to teach him. And if he
Responsibility.
yeah, and he goes back because, I mean, he did kind of, I don't know, maybe he did kind of learn the lesson, but we'll see. Maybe he'll be around more. One thing did stand out to me with this episode. We've not had any Gizmo Duck in season 2.
You're right.
We've not seen Fenton at all. And the only time we saw Gyro was in the season premiere when he showed up at the mansion. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that story. I don't expect them to see in the in the Christmas episode. Maybe we do, but they just all of Storky's heroics made me think. Wait, where's Gizmo Duck during all this? Why isn't he fighting harpies? And then, of course, Launchpad was missing, and I would expect Launchpad to be flying around too. So. But, you can only have so many characters in each episode, but I can't help but wonder, where is Gizmo Duck?
All right, our last one is from Eno Jelly. They say, the mini Donald hugs and moments with the triplets.
Yeah, that's one thing with Storky Lee's you're going to get a lot of is hugs. Mm-hmm. It's like an episode of Full House.
I just like that he calls Louie Llewellyn.
Yes, a couple of times. Oh, you know what? I called that one too. No, that was a lot of fun. I love when they bring that up, but Louis didn't really react to it like he had in the past.
Yeah, he kind of, I think, accepted being called that.
So do you think, because we know Louis learned a lesson, and we know that they're now going to use the harpies to move Lemonade. They might not have, because there at the end it looked like things were already falling apart. But they make the comment, they're doing a news report or something, and Louis, gives some flashy title, and Scrooge interrupts, and he's like, unpaid intern. And Louis like, not now. Do you think that's the end of Louis Inc.? Like, will he give up on his business adventure for now and kind of find his place within Scrooge's business? Or do you think they'll keep the storyline of him trying to start his own business? Because now he's an unpaid intern.
I think he's still going to be trying to have his own businesses over and over again. Because we don't know this. We do know there's going to be a Louis-centric arc in this season. And so I feel like this is going to be an ongoing thing where he's going to not try new schemes or anything in every single episode. But I think there's going to be a few times where he's going to try to make a business opportunity on what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been wondering. I'm not sure. I think that I think it would be fun to see at least one episode with him trying to fit in, at McDuck Industries again as an intern. But I do still think he's going to keep pursuing his own business. Like you said, they've pointed out that this season will feature him heavily, kind of like how Dewey was featured in season 1, pretty heavily. Mm-hmm. Someone pointed out to us, I think it was Bella, sent us an email and pointed out that Ballad of Duke Baloney was the first episode in DuckTales that Dewey hasn't been in.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting. I'm thinking all these episodes, and that would be the first one he wasn't in. I was also thinking...
Wait. Say that. Which episode was the first one? The Duke Baloney?
The Ballad of Duke Baloney was the first episode that Dewey wasn't in.
Mm.
I haven't checked it, so...
I don't know.
I just thought it was interesting. Let's see. Let's pull it up real quick.
Try to think of another episode, maybe.
He was in the premiere. Why is this list not starting there? There we go. He was in the premiere. I'm still scrolling. This makes good podcasting. He was in Day Trip of Doom. He was in The Great Dime Chase in the Library. He was in The Beagle Birthday Massacre with his brothers. He was in Terror of the Terra Firmians. He was in House of Lucky Gander. He was in Infernal Internship of Mark Beeks. Living Mummies of Toth Raw. Impossible Summit. Spear of Selene. He was in The Buddy System. He was in Missing Links. McMystery. Jaws. Golden Lagoon. Day of the Only Child. Was he in Confidential Case Files? Yes, because the boys are on the couch at the beginning.
Okay, all right.
Who is Gizmo Duck? I know Huey was in that episode. But was Dewey? So
I have to rewatch that.
Yeah, he was in The Other Ben. He was in Sky Pirates, Castle McDuck, Last Crash, and Shadow World. So, I mean, if he was in that episode, then he's been in every episode up to The Ballad of Duke Baloney. So I did think that was very interesting. We've had a lot of that character.
Briefly in Storky, the last episode, like for a millisecond.
Right, he sits up in the bed.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and you know, one thought that I had on The Ballad of Duke Baloney, I was talking with someone about that, about Louie and Webby being together. I think it took place at the same time as The Depths of Cousin Feathery, because Huey and Dewey had taken off to the underwater laboratory with Launchpad, and Webby and Louie were out fishing on their own. I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think those two stories took place at the same time. Or close to it. But yeah, so anyway, hey, let us know. Was Dewey in every episode up to The Ballad of Duke Baloney? We think so. We're going to have to go back and watch that episode and see if he was in Case Files. I can't picture him in Case Files. Oh, yeah, he is. That's the one where they're sitting on the couch when watching the Ottoman Empire. So which episode was I thinking of? Anyway, that's the end of this episode.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We won't do it on the podcast time. You've got to go make dinner.
Yep.
So yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you to everyone who's listened to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like on whatever podcatcher you're using. A review would be great, or a rating. It helps us reach more people. You can check out our website, DuckTalks.com. You can also check us out on Twitter at DuckTalks. If you have any feedback, send that to ducktalkspod@gmail.com. You can also reach us individually. My name's Mitch, and I can be found at Infinirama616.
You can find me online at CCRunner524.
And you can also check out our YouTube channel. We hope to continue to put up content there, and that's Duck Talks. I think that's going to do it for tonight. So until next time.
Stay golden.
I just kept waiting for that third person to do something. Pew, pew,
I know, right?
pew. Duck Talks is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds or audio clips played on this podcast are the property of their copyright holders.
So who is singing it?
Oh, what did it do? Hold on. Do you ever get these? Do you get these stupid ads on your iPhone where, like, anytime I go to the Disney Wikipedia, Disney Wiki?
Oh yeah, is it like one where it comes up with almost like a Wheel of Fortune type of thing?
And you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
What is there any way to get rid of that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have searched and searched and searched, and I cannot get past it. Drives me nuts.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 10 days of Christmas, 8 days of Christmas. Oops, forgot the 9th day.
New holiday episode of DuckTales on demand in the Disney Now app and on Disney Channel Saturday, December 1st at 7:30.